Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now, you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Hello and welcome to it. It is Wednesday. I'm going to call it Winning Wednesday. It's Winning Wednesday. You know why? Because we're winning. We're winning. There's a lot of good stuff happening around the world. Hopefully very soon the Ayatollah will be, I'll just say, killed. How about that? The Ayatollah. How about just killed? I think that would be good. And then the Persian people will walk free. Let's hope that happens very soon. Let's hope the people of Cuba walk free. I did today, Franklin Graham was talking about the praying at noon today. And so I stopped before the show and said a prayer. I'm just going to be honest about those who are corrupt, who are in power, being removed from power, and those being who have done this corruption be held accountable, and the people of Iran be free, and the people of Cuba be free, and peace. I asked for peace. How about that? And I didn't say that the left needs to settle down because they're causing it all, but they are. So there you go. There is that. And then I also prayed that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton would go to jail, actually, and came up with this. Jim Gossett.
To that House hearing I didn't show. Me and Hillary decided not to go. We just proved that we've got so much to hide.
Oh my goodness.
No pressure has been applied. Me and my wife, we won't comply. About Jeffrey Epstein, we refuse to testify.
Yeah.
Cause we know we'd get caught in lie after lie. We won't comply. We won't comply. Jim Comer says I'm in contempt. That from appearing I am not exempt. He wants me arrested. I say let him try. I won't comply. I won't comply. Island trips, I took a lot. When I'm asked about him, I say I forgot. I flew 30 times on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, but I will never explain, no, not me. I will resist, even though
that is Jim Gossett. I don't know, man. I tell you what, I have never in my life had other people write for my show until Jim Gossett, because he's just so dang good at it. Anyway, welcome to the show. Please come inside. I put together this morning. I put together a little montage today because, you know, one of the mantras of this presidency is look what can happen when you actually do something. Just look what can happen when you actually do something. And I put this together because the Democrats, for the last, since Barack Obama, have been like armadillos on their backs in the middle of the highway saying nothing could be fixed.
In Sturgis, Michigan, it is $2.89 a gallon. What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh my God. That is hilarious. Would that I had the magic wand on this.
Cheaper gas at the pump lately. You're not imagining it.
What?
It's been nice to see. Prices
What?
are now at their lowest since March
What?
of 2021.
Really?
Because some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. When somebody says that he's going to bring all these jobs back, well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? What magic wand do you have?
Ford had its best year since 2019. GM sales are up 6%. Food sales up. Their stock prices are going through the roof. Ford says they have 5,000 manufacturing jobs that pay six figures that they can't fill. There's that much demand.
Republicans have been saying, largely wrongly, right? Saying that the president can close the border unilaterally on his own. The president actually doesn't have the authority under law to do that.
There's only so much President Biden can do with executive action, and he did.
They actually are doing everything they can.
President's hands are tied. There's only so much that he can do. Here were the records set in July. Again, these numbers were released this morning.
What?
The lowest monthly nationwide encounters ever, down nearly 90% from the monthly average under the Biden administration. The lowest monthly Border Patrol apprehensions nationwide ever.
Yeah. So there's just 3 examples in a myriad of examples. And you know what the problem is? Democrats always employ academics, and academics never do D word for Richard. They never get anything accomplished. They sit around like tenured professors, and they mentally masturbate about nonsensical things like, oh, no, could a boy have a baby? Can a girl have a penis? Can boys be girls and girls be boys? Brr, 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 brr. Honestly, this is ridiculous. And their idea of an accomplishment is a meeting. You have a meeting. This is the way left always operates, by the way. And there are some people in the broadcast industry who do this too. You have a meeting, and the accomplishment is the meeting. You go into the meeting, you have no plan, you have no direction, you have no list of accomplishments, you have no list of goals. You just sit there in your meeting and you mentally masturbate. I know I said that twice, and nothing gets accomplished. And there you go, we did it. Woo! And that's what we've done with 8 years of Barack Obama and 4 years of Joe Biden that's doing nothing at all. And look what happens when you actually do something. It's kind of amazing. And generally when that happens, of course, there is lots of good news. And again, there's lots of good news today.
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning.
Lots of winning.
It's so good.
Yeah, here is CNBC talking about what's going to happen this year. And why, by the way, where are the Democrats talking about affordability? Where were they talking about affordability? They were talking about Maduro and Donald Trump arresting Maduro, and that's criminal. And then before that, they were saying that Pete Hegseth is a war criminal because of the drug boats blowing up the drug boats. And then all of a sudden, this woman decides that she's going to harass an ICE officer trying to run him over. And the ICE officer shot her through the windshield, which is a good sign that the car is coming right at you and you're in front of the car. So there's that. Where's affordability? Where's affordability?
I'm very optimistic. More new highs, good GDP, close southern border.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm with you on all those positives. I'm not disputing any of those, and the inflation number is one more reason to be optimistic.
Yeah,
I think 2026 is going to be a very good year for the economy and the markets.
You know why? Are you ready? Because Donald Trump's doing the stuff you need to do to make the economy work. I know, it's weird, right? All the things that you as a small business operator, maybe you've got a muffin factory or something, or whatever. If you like muffins, that's cool. But maybe you got a muffin factory, and what you need to succeed is maybe fair tariffs with other countries that could sell their muffins a lot cheaper. Those Chinese muffins. You got to watch those Chinese muffins, for God's sake. They might have asbestos in them or something, and then they're super cheap, but you buy them anyway. There you go. And then of course all that regulation because you want to try to bring your muffin to the market. That sounds weird, Rachel Maddow, but you bring your muffin to the market and you got to go through all of these stupid rules and regulations to get your muffin. I think there's a dating site for people like Rachel Maddow called Muffin Mart. But anyway, but there you go. So you're trying to bring your muffin to the market. Maybe it's called Muffin Market. I don't know. But you try to bring your muffin to the market, and Donald Trump is saying, here's the deal. I'm going to lower the taxes on your muffins. I don't know if this is the best analogy. I'm going to lower the regulations so you can bring your muffin to the market. And then we're going to bring down the price of gas so you can get your muffin ingredients to your store, and then you can take your muffins across the country. Okay, you know what I'm saying. He's doing the stuff that you need to do. He is doing the stuff you need to do, and here's the chief executive talking about that.
Joe Biden gave us a colossal stagflation catastrophe, but my administration's rapidly and very decisively ended.
By the way, I'm going to trademark that Muffin Market, muffinmarket.com.
That we have quickly achieved the exact opposite of stagflation. Almost no inflation and super high growth. So we have the highest growth we've ever had.
What?
The highest growth we've ever
had. What kind of magic wand you got there? What kind of magic wand? I think we need to have a meeting.
And we've only been there 11 months. As of this morning, core inflation for the past 3 months has been just 1.6%. The numbers we just announced just before I came on stage.
Wow.
And GDP is smashing expectations with the fastest growth for this country in many years.
Boom.
The fourth quarter is projected at 5.4%, And that's despite the Democrat shutdown where we lost at least 1.5 points.
But the Democrats have a plan. When they get into power, they're going to impeach Donald Trump. That's their plan. They wrecked everything. They destroyed everything. They opened the southern border. They killed the economy. You had 30, 40, 50% inflation. They doubled the price of housing. They doubled the price of a used car. What they did with new cars, I like to say that 55,000 is the new 35,000. That's the difference between when I sold cars, when Donald Trump was president versus when Joe Biden was the president afterwards. $35,000 was a good car. Now that $35,000 car costs $55,000. Now that $55,000 car costs $85,000. That's what happened when Joe Biden was the president. It was a crap show, and we're cleaning up the crap. That's what we're doing. I grew up on a farm. I know how to shovel crap, and we got a lot of crap shoveling to do. I'm in a good mood today. I'm just in a good mood today. There's a lot of good news, and I see this nonsense in Minneapolis. It's fading fast, and I love the fact that the Trump administration is saying, "Oh really? Oh really? You're going to get in the way of the car? We're just going to send some more agents up there. We're going to give you a rectal probe," which Tim Walz doesn't mind so much normally, but this one is not good. It's going to be very good. The president's got some stuff on him today. Got to all this just the Supreme Court argument about whether a man what is a man and what is a woman. Oh my God, so much stupidity yesterday in front of the Supreme Court. We've got that. We've got Iran. We've got what the hell is it? Judge Jeanine talking about the Fed chair Jerome Powell, why she's going after him and how he has been dodging. I mean, I could just go on and on, but I'm not going to. I'm going to take a break. That's what I'm going to do. Here's a number if you want to chime in: 800-922-6680. This is the Rob Carson Show, brought to you today by Muffin Mart. Don't go anywhere.
To that House hearing I didn't show. Me and Hillary decided not to go. We just proved that we've got so much to hide. Though pressure has been applied, me and my wife, we won't comply. About Jeffrey Epstein, we refuse to testify. 'Cause we know we'd get caught in lie after lie. We won't comply. We won't comply. Jim Comer says I'm in contempt. That from appearing I am not exempt. He wants me arrested. I say let him try. I won't comply. I won't comply. Island trips, I took a lot. When I'm asked about them, I say I forgot. I flew 30 times on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, but I will never explain. No, not me. I will resist, even though my name is at the top of Epstein's list. Step down, step down. Tim Walz should step down for allowing so much fraud. If Tim Walz would resign, Minnesota would applaud. More than $1 billion lost to fraud, a tremendous cost. Step down, step down. Tim Walz should step down. He cannot carry on. Step down, step down. Do it today. Tim Walz, you Yes, they have no Maduro. They have no Maduro today. They bombed him and grabbed him. The CIA nabbed him. In handcuffs he was hauled away. Maduro has been indicted, and Venezuelans are excited because they have no Maduro, and they thank the US of A. Nicholas has been captured, his freedom's been taken away. Maduro is so vile, his wife will stand trial. We are gonna make them pay. Yes, they have no Maduro. They have no Maduro today.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
You provide a definition for the word woman.
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't.
You can?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
Of the word.
Yeah, she made it on the Supreme Court. That person there, oh, you're such a racist. No, she's just dumb. My God. I mean, listen, I know many of you get online degrees. I get it. I understand. But I don't know if getting your law degree online is such a good thing. I don't even know if she did that, for God's sake. I mean, really. And then, of course, the stupid continued yesterday in the Supreme Court. Yesterday in West Virginia versus BPJ, which stands for Becky Pepper Jackson. I call it the PPV-9 argument. In West Virginia, the Save Women's Sports Act bars transgendered girls from female teams, which means dudes who put on dresses that say they're girls. Of course, Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, the three Karens of the Supreme Court, argued in favor of stripping young girls and women of the opportunity to privacy in the locker rooms and from being able to achieve the top spots in their sports when competing against biological men. Then came this moment, and this is not a good sign for your defense or your case when your lawyer can't tell you what the definition of either sex is when it's the basis of the case. I want you to remember this name. Her name is, or his, or they, them, their, whatever. ACLU lawyer Kathleen Hartnett, asked by Samuel Alito to define a man, a boy, or a woman, or whatever the hell. But listen to this.
Is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl, or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition? For equal protection purposes, what does it mean to be a boy or a girl, or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was,
I don't think that was real hard to figure out, but let's do it again.
Or a man or a woman.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition?
What is it?
For equal protection
boy or
purposes,
girl,
what does it mean to be a boy or a girl, or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was.
Or you could just go back to, I don't know, kindergarten and sit in a class for one day.
Just understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded. We do not have a definition for the court. And we don't take issue with the...
Oh, my God. So, wait, hold on. You're bringing a case to the Supreme Court about defining men and women when you allow them in sports and you do not know the definition of either.
We're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is...
No, I think you are, because you don't know it.
...that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth-sex males categorically from women's teams.
Okay, this is just a circuitous route to stupid. I mean, if you were had your car voice was Forrest Gump or something for the GPS, this is where Forrest would take you.
And that there's a subset of those birth sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's.
See, it's taking you all over here, and you're going over there, and you go over there when the answer is right there. PPV 9, it's right there.
Interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
Might have.
I think here we just know that we basically know that that they've identified pursuant to their own statute.
What did I tell you about academics? Yep. See, all this crap came around about like the last 6 years. It's all psyop. All of this. I'm cisgendered with cisgender. Shut up. You're not cisgendered. You're a female or you're a male. You're not cisgendered because you can't change your sex. Sorry. There's some things you can't do. You know, it's like I want to be the first person to ever live who never died. Oh, sure. Good luck with that. Go ahead. Good luck with that. Let's see how well that works.
Well, that has a boys, let's say, track team and a girls' track team.
Girls have the Ninas and boys have the PPs.
The school has that.
Yes.
And a student.
Yes, Your Honor.
Has the genes and the reproductive system of a male and had those at birth and has never taken.
Oh, you're talking about cisgendered people?
Puberty blockers, never.
Oh my God.
Taken female hormones, never had any gender altering or affirming surgeries.
You know, he's got to just feel like, I got to say this to these frickin' morons.
Says, nevertheless, I am a woman. That's who I am.
Yeah.
Can the school...
Getting a headache there. Can we take a break? Can we recess from the stupidity for a sec? Okay, we'll keep going.
Say, no, you cannot participate on the girls' team.
So you're just a birth sex male who has all the advantages of birth sex male.
Birth sex male is a male.
Hormones, and can the school bar him from the woman's team? Yes, they can.
But that person, is that person not a woman in your understanding? The person says, I sincerely believe I am a woman, I am in fact a woman. Is that person not a woman?
I would respect their self-identity in addressing the person, but in terms of the statute, I think the question is, does that person have a sex-based biological advantage?
See, insane people should not be allowed to argue. That attorney should have a court-appointed attorney.
That's going to make it unfair.
She is not fit to provide her own defense.
For that person to be part of the women's team, and that's the rationale for the regulation, and so that's the way we'd be testing that hypothetical.
Well, the reason I'm asking has to do with discrimination on the basis of transgender status. So what you would seem to be saying is, yes, it is permissible for the school to discriminate on the basis of transgender status, because if this person...
And the stupid GPS just took us off a cliff.
...is a trans woman, a trans girl, and is barred from the team, from the girls' team, then that person is being subjected to differential treatment based on transgender status, right?
Well, then the question would be whether it was, the scrutiny would be satisfied. So from our perspective, that would be a transgender classification.
Okay, this is like trying to... It's like arguing with a toddler. You're never going to go anywhere. They're just going to continue to spew this at you, and you're going to go, how about just a timeout? How about just honestly. Oh, and there's more on the other side of the break with Ketanji Brown Jackson. She, honestly, is an embarrassment. And if you're a Democrat or a lefty or whatever, well, you wouldn't understand because you're stupid. But anyway, we got more on the other side of the break. More on the other side of the break on this. And then we're going to move on to, Minneapolis. We'll go to Minneapolis after that. Let's take a break and come back, shall we? This, my friends, is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson for Relief Factor. I saw an ad for Relief Factor a while back, and I saw a guy literally in tears with how he talked about the pain that he was experiencing was gone. It happened to me too. I started it taking a few months ago. My hip was really bothering me, and I wondered, because I'm the age of, replacement of joints and whatnot, if it could be better. And I started taking Relief Factor, and it healed. It's a 100% drug-free, research-based formula created to help your body's natural inflammatory response, the same one that causes everyday aches and pains from aging, exercise, overexertion, and just normal living. It helped me with my hip, my neck, my shoulders, all the places that remind you you're not 25 anymore. Relief Factor supports a healthy response to inflammation, helping you stay active and keep those joints and muscles feeling good. It's made with 4 key ingredients: omega-3 fatty acids, resveratrol, curcumin, and icariin, each one helping from a different angle. You can start with the 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That's less than a cup of coffee a day. So if you're tired of creaking like an old floorboard every time you move, give Relief Factor a try. Go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com and feel the difference. Relief Factor, because getting out of bed shouldn't count as a workout.
Somalis are all on welfare, and the Dems just seem to not care. Ilhan Omar, she needs to go. GTFO, GTFO, GTFO. Many are anti-Semitic. Their statements have been pathetic. They're a threat to all you know. GTFO, GTFO, GTFO. They are always expressing hate of America. Why are they here? Must abort before it's too late. Talk about holiday cheer. Our language, they will not learn it. Own money, refuse to earn it. They are gaming the system so. GTFO, GTFO, GTFO.
Hey guys, it's Carson for Quince.com. Colder days mean layers, and your winter wardrobe may have you considering a winter reset. I went to a jazz club the other night wearing a Quince tee, another shirt over it, and a Quince wool jacket. A woman said, "You look fine." I mean, it blew me away. I've spent every dime for my kids and my wife for 25 years. Now I feel confident and I look good with Quince. I couldn't believe it. Quince has everything you need: men's Mongolian cashmere sweaters, wool coats, leather, and suede outerwear, each piece made with premium materials by trusted factories that meet rigorous standards. No middlemen means no traditional markups. The wool coat I wore to the jazz club the other night turned heads, cost less than I paid elsewhere. You can also find anything for your home, including kitchen, bath, and even for travel. Refresh your wardrobe at Quince. Go to quince.com/Newsmax. That's QUINCE.com/Newsmax for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Newsmax. That's quince.com/Newsmax.
Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's love your...
So before we dive back into the stupid in front of the Supreme Court, I want to hear, this is a real Minnesotan talking about ICE and, all the lefties up there and all these idiots that, are being bought and paid for by George Soros and Neville Singham and all these people who are, coming in to interfere with the ICE, and they're going to be arrested and all of that. But this is what Minnesota, this is the quintessential Minnesotan talking about how they feel about ICE deporting illegals, particularly Somalis who come from the meth trailer park of the world and steal from taxpayers.
So ICE was just in my suburb at our local grocery store while I was there, and they were grabbing somebody. Nobody in the grocery store stopped them from doing their job.
Nobody from the grocery store.
Everybody was clapping and excited about ICE being there. People were hooting and hollering, chanting for ICE.
Hooting and hollering.
You gotta love small towns in Minnesota, honestly. We are so stoked. And honestly, you know what I did after the ICE agents got done with their job, what they were doing? I said, can I buy you all, like something to drink, something to eat?
Maybe a hot dish.
And I did.
Yep.
And I sure did, because
you betcha.
I'm excited that ICE is
You
in
betcha
Minnesota.
did, yeah.
I'm really excited.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can tell you the suburb I'm in,
That's
but
right.
it's close to Stillwater.
Is it Shakopee? Oh, no, it's over there on the east side there.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah, right there on the Wisconsin border.
Best thing I've seen today is watching an ICE agent arrest somebody and send them back to where they came from.
There you go. That is Minnesotan right there. Talking about ICE. And you know what? Honestly, that's the way it is. People are sick of this crap, to be quite honest. And consequently, they love it when these illegals are deported. Sorry, if we were in whatever country, we certainly wouldn't be in Somalia, because nobody goes to Somalia, because it sucks. But if we were in Mexico and we decided to say, hey, we're going to sneak in, we're going to camp out, hey, can I get some free health care? Can I get some free this and free that? I'll vote for your socialist candidate. They wouldn't allow that to happen because, it only happens here. Gold today, $4,611. Are you ready for silver? I don't think you're ready for silver. Yesterday, silver was $87. It's at $90. It's over $90 today, silver. Silver is $90, for God's sake. Unbelievable. $4,600 for gold, $90 for silver. Isn't it time? Have I not proven to you that maybe it's time to get out of that old 401k or IRA or whatever? Maybe your savings, really? Just savings, sitting there savings, interest, really? You got about as much interest from my wife in the bedroom as you're getting on your savings, I'll tell you that, and it's next to zero. Actually, mine was zero. But anyway, maybe you should consider investing in gold. And right now, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold will offer a rebate up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility, start the process. You know the drill. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Do it right now. Hit the little arrow there to text. Up there where it says to 989898. Then in the body of the text, Rob, and send. You're going to get information, no obligation. They're going to tell you what you need to do, whatever, and all that. But you better do it by the 30th of January. If it's your first time as a gold buyer, you could get up to $10,000 rebate with qualifying purchases. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. If you would, let's get back into this absurdity before the Supreme Court. Ketanji Brown Jackson, she is woke. Woke came about 7 years ago, something like that. They suddenly woke, and they said, they called it woke proudly. I remember Democrat politicians, I'm woke and proud, and then they realized how stupid it was. They don't say it so much anymore, but they still do the stupid crap. And this woman was obviously schooled in woke, and she uses a term as a Supreme Court justice, a word that didn't exist 5 years ago. And it is cisgendered. It is a complete construct. It's meaningless. It is meaningless. It is relabeling what has always been. That is, you are born one sex or the other. There are a few who are born with a little bit of both. They probably live near a nuclear dump or a high-tension wire or something. And, that happens. You get a third this and a second that, and one is on your shoulder. You never know. But generally, you're born male or female. That's the way it is. You're not labeled it when you're born. It's just, again, PP9. But here is Ketanji Brown Jackson.
You have the overarching classification. Everybody has to be
play on the team that is the same as their sex at birth.
Yes.
But then you have a gender identity definition that is operating within that, meaning a distinction, meaning that for cisgender girls, they can play consistent with their gender identity. For transgender girls, they can't.
So I think that, okay.
Yeah, I know. Me exactly. I was like, I know. Hit yourself in the head. Just go, oh my God, she's on the Supreme Court.
As to the part about your ability to pass over from boy to girl,
yes,
you can go from one way but not the other. I want to be clear that BPJ is
you can't go back.
Not challenging that specific classification. I think that's important to start with. But I think, if anything, that's useful evidence as to the lack of a transgender-based discrimination.
Okay. So I was, listening to Alito and Gorsuch and all of this, and then all of a sudden along comes Ketanji Brown Jackson, and it reminded me of a bit from Saturday Night Live. Have you ever seen the Three Sisters bit, and then the fourth sister has little tiny hands and she's crazy? That's Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Sisters do as sisters should. We're all together, sisters. I'm Janice.
Alito.
I'm Holly.
And Gorsuch.
I'm Nora.
And what's her name?
And I'm Judy.
There's Ketanji Brown Jackson. My God, you're just like, oh my God, what the hell? That is Ketanji Brown Jackson. That was a perfect analogy. Nobody else has that analogy. That is a great analogy. Meanwhile, here is Brett Kavanaugh. He's one of the same sisters.
Obviously, one of the great successes in America over the last 50 years has been the growth of women and girls sports. Some states in the federal government and the NCAA and the Olympic Committee think that allowing transgender women and girls to participate will undermine or reverse that amazing success. For the individual girl who does not make the team or doesn't get on the stand for the medal or doesn't make all league, there's a harm there.
Yeah, you might want to think about the girls who are on the teams that are the ones who are the victims rather than the one boo-boo, cuckoo, cuckoo person over here who was born with a nina who said, or penis who just, it's so confusing. The boy who's dressed up like a girl wants to compete with girls. There you go. So the crazy sisters, are all down with the one crazy person who's decided that either because they're crazy or they just suck at their sports, so they decide to become a girl. My God, if I had no shame in high school, I could have not just gotten the crap beat out of me like I did when I was in wrestling. In 8th grade, I had to wrestle with the high schoolers, and they beat the crap out of me. I could have just identified as a girl and been an Iowa State champion wrestler. I could have been an Iowa State champion wrestler. I could have won the state track meet and shot put and discus by a mile if I had no shame and I just decided that I was going to be on the girls' team. I could have been legendary. I would be in the record books. I would win all of my events. Right now, I could be in the Senior Olympics. And if I identified as a woman, I could totally kick butt in weightlifting. I really could. I'm very strong. I could do 60-pound dumbbells in each hand. No girl could do that. So I could be a world champion. I'm going to have to think about this. Hold on a second. I mean, I got kind of big hands and big feet for a woman. The voice isn't exactly the most feminine. No, I think I'm going to stick with being a guy. I kind of like being a guy. I win anyway, by the way. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson from Birch School.
There were some interesting moments there. Justice Gorsuch was one of the justices we're watching most closely because he had penned an earlier opinion that found that sex for workers' discrimination cases did include transgender individuals. He was asking tough questions on both sides, but he was not a lock in favor of these states. But from the head count I made, it seemed like they did have a likely 5-justice majority at a minimum.
In other words, 5 sane justices.
But we'll have to wait to see. But various justices said, well, come on. You know, one of the things we have to do here is look at Title IX.
Title IX was created because women were, and I remember when Title IX passed, it was in the 90s, because women's sports was being underfunded and men's sports got all of the funding, right? And so women's sports was dying on the vine on university campi around the country, and they stepped in with Title IX and said, let's let girls have an opportunity to get scholarships and whatnot.
Bans discrimination on the basis of sex, and yet you don't want us to ask, you know, what is sex? What is being female? What is male? How do we do that? So there's a lot of questions like that.
I tell you what. They've just made things more complicated than they ever needed to be. It's just because we live in a time of great stupidity. The stupid is strong with this one. honestly. Yesterday was this athlete. Her name's Madison Kenyon, and she's a cross-country runner. Not uncommon when you're a Kenyan to be a cross-country runner. Kenyans from the country of Kenya usually are, but she's not. Her name is Kenyon. Here she is talking about why it's bad for women to compete against men.
I went to Idaho State University on a track and cross-country scholarship where I raced a male athlete in the women's division many times, and I lost every time along with hundreds of other women.
Look at the international marathon records, and you'll see, or any track and field event involving men versus any track and field event involving women. The men are always faster and stronger and stuff.
I saw a teammate pushed off a podium.
Because we're faster and stronger and stuff.
And I know that roster spot didn't go to a woman. And after seeing that and knowing that this is not fair, I stood up to protect these sports that gave me so much, gave me my education. And it's not fair for women to compete against men. It ruins the integrity of women's sports.
It's heartbreaking. It's soul-crushing. And it's also utterly, utterly ridiculous. How dare the Democrat Party and the left put women through this? Why are women even still down with this nonsense? Are there any women who are down with this nonsense? I mean, listen, here's one, actually. This is one of the dumbest people I could ever imagine out in front of the Supreme Court, literally saying men and women should compete together because there's no difference.
Why are you splitting up sports? Like, I'm pretty sure a woman can play basketball as well as a man if she practices.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure any woman could compete in anything if they just do exercises and go to practice and stuff. They compete with any man. Yeah, okay. How's that WNBA versus NBA thing? How many 7'3" and actually over 7 feet women are there? The answer is absolutely none. Here's some more from Madison Kenyon.
It was pretty consistent across the line that it's unfair for a woman to step on the line against a male.
Yeah.
It's like you haven't started the race, but the result has already been decided.
Yeah.
And running's a mental sport. If you think that, then that's what happens. And we're collegiate athletes. We're not participating for a participation trophy. We're sacrificing every single day to go out and race and to beat the odds.
Yeah, it is utterly ridiculous that we have. What did Mr. Spock say? He said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yeah, in this case, absolutely, it is utterly ridiculous to ruin the dreams of young women so that guys who suck at their sport can get into, get in the same locker room with them. Leah Thomas, the swimmer, was still having sex with women as a man when she was in the locker room with female athletes, and, of course, winning all the meets because she's him, they, them, their, whatever the hell, are so much faster because he's a dude.
Is there room, though, to stand behind those concerns?
She's going to stand the line here.
And still empathize with trans students who want to have school experiences?
I think it's really important to understand that when women compete against women, it is fair. When you put a man in women's athletics, it's not fair.
No.
And women have nowhere else to go.
I know.
If you take away the fairness in our sports, we literally have nowhere else to go. But when men compete against men, it is fair. And when women compete against women, it is fair.
Yeah.
And so in order to protect the opportunities that I had in college to get a scholarship, to get an education,
yes,
for all of the future generations of women, it is so important that we can recognize that women should only compete against women.
Yeah, I remember when I said that 2024 had to be the year we returned to common sense from nonsense. These are the stragglers. Okay, this is the overlap into a Supreme Court case this year. One more, Madison Kenyon, and then Kristen Wagoner was with her talking about the obvious.
There's certainly a feeling of being excluded. So I just wonder from sort of your point of view, how just on a very human level you see that.
I think it's important to see that anyone should participate in sports, but sports is based on biology.
Yes.
And that's why it's important that women only compete against women. So anyone can play sports, but where is it most fair for women? That's only against women. And can I just...
You see, because sex, it was made for making babies, and it involves the male and the female. I mean, there are other ways to do it, don't get me wrong, but it was created for reproduction.
This idea of kindness and compassion, we should be extending that to all people.
And there are other ways, trust me.
No matter how they identify. And we shouldn't be making differences on the basis of how someone identifies if that's not relevant to the particular inquiry.
Yeah.
I think the other big piece to put there is you said, how do they feel? Well, I want to focus on the harm to the girls.
Yeah.
Because even in the case before the Supreme Court, over 420 girls have been displaced 1,100 times and lost 57 medals to the boy at the heart of the case. So let's talk about how those 400 girls are feeling in this moment.
I got to tell you, I want the left to feel bad about this for the rest of their lives, because what they put us through, what they put society through, what they put women through with this nonsense is unforgivable. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh, yeah.
Easily distracted. Yeah, I'm in a good mood today, I guess. I don't know. You guys have been talking about what a good mood I'm in. I don't know. I just feel funny today. I do. There's so much good happening in the process of happening. There's a lot of bad happening. I get it. But there's a lot of good happening. And the left is being beaten down into hell. They're losing on every front. They are losing on every front because they have bedded down with evil and ignorant and ridiculous. And this is going to result in them being irreparably harmed. The Democrat Party irreparably harmed. And finally, a return to common sense from nonsense. There are still stragglers, don't get me wrong. And then, we're going to have to pick up the pieces of our broken families because of what the left did to us and separated us and destroyed us and ended our friendships and all of this for nonsense. All of this psyop that many fell for. And I have to decide whether I'm going to forgive the people in my life for doing what they've done to me, because they're the ones who separated themselves from me. And, forgive and forget. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. Let's move on here. We've got a bunch of other stuff to get to. Here we go. All right. I got to talk now. Here we go.
Should have been 3:10 here.
All right, we're going to wrap up the talk about transgender nonsense with a piece of satire that we threw together a few years ago on the show with Jim Gossett.
When you're a man who calls himself a girl.
Came up with this about 4 years ago.
It can be a bonus.
Because it was so ridiculous from the get-go, you see.
When you compete with women, you have to hide.
This was disinformation at one point.
Ooh, that pair of cojones.
That's Spanish for customer.
I can cycle against the girls, yep. That's my choice.
Yep.
I can steal their medals with this manly voice, 'cause the left makes me feel. The left makes me feel. The left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, 'cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel. They make me feel like a transgender woman.
Everybody, here we go.
Woman.
There you go. It's just been utterly ridiculous. Everything's been ridiculous. And it's all beginning to fall apart. Woke universities and colleges forced to trim fat and slash thousands of jobs. Academia is falling apart because they perpetrated this stupid nonsense on us. University of Nebraska's cut 51 jobs. Wyoming Community College, 33 jobs. Reorganized 30 others. All of this DEI, CRT bullcrap, this leftist, Marxist, Maoist bullcrap. Is disappearing into the ether, and now we got to pick up the pieces of the absurdity of it all, and how it divided us, and how one side of the political equation, conservatism, was right, and the left drilled points into their followers' heads to make them convinced that men can be women, women can be men. Trump is a Nazi. You are a Nazi. I am a Nazi for supporting Trump. Elon Musk is a Nazi. Joe Biden's brain is fine. All of this. And I am optimistic about 2026 beyond just the economy, but just for common sense, and we can beat this horde of leftists into the pits of hell. All right? They're going to try dragging us, kicking and screaming, to hell with them, the Democrat Party and the left. But we're not going, are we? We are not going. Hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show is next. We're going to be talking about Minnesota and accountability. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show. Erin Van Natta from the Daily Caller joins us later in the show. She's always a lot of fun. Next hour, Adam Guillette from Accuracy and Media. He's always awesome. Always as well. So there's a little icing on the cake. By the way, on February the 1st, all federal payments to blue sanctuary cities to be suspended. There you go. So Donald Trump is saying, you want to be a sanctuary city? You want to be a sanctuary state? Go for it. You ain't getting anything from us, which I say, amen. Here is the president talking about that and going after California.
We're giving 90-day notices to places like California, Scott. Right away, we're going to send out that notice. Who would bill the federal government as people poured into the state?
Yep.
To send those people back because no country can afford to do it. No country can afford to take in millions of people, pay for their education, their health care, their hospitals. You just can't do it. And we all have a heart. You can't do it. But many of those people are murderers.
Where was the heart for the American people when they suffered? Where was the heart for the American people as they suffered? I'll tell you what, man. I mean, putting up illegals in hotels and buying out the Roosevelt Hotel for $500 a night for a year for illegals, giving people $10,000 on a SNAP card, giving people free childcare, free this, while you scraped and worked 3 jobs.
There are people released from jails, prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums.
Man.
There are people that are drug
If you are still a Democrat, you are friggin' nuts.
dealers. They're addicts. Additionally, starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities.
Oh, my goodness. You know, isn't it nice to have a president who has cojones? The GOP, by the way, is part of the reconciliation. The Democrats are going to try to shut down the government again. They're saying if you're going to shut down the government unless you abolish ICE or defund ICE. And by the way, Democrats are being warned to not say abolish ICE because it's losing political message. It's a losing political message. No kidding, right? People on the side of ICE and the ICE officers, and they're really ticked off that people are attacking them in Minnesota. And they love it, by the way, when some of those protesters get their asses handed to them. They do. I love it. I love it. I love beat down porn. It's spectacular. Democrats need to drop the abolish ICE political slogan if they have a hope of winning back the majority in Congress. They're not going to, because they're offering nothing, and they wrecked the country for 4 years. They're offering nothing. They suck. They're terrible people. They have an 18% approval rating. Good luck winning both houses with that. I will say, don't take it for granted. Vote, vote, vote. Third Way, in a memo to Democrats, started first with NBC News, warning Democrats against talking in extreme turns in the wake of the highly charged days following the ICE shooting of Renee Nicole Good. This impulse is emotional. The slogan is simple, but politically it is lethal. A memo from Sarah Pierce and Lene Erickson. They use they, them pronouns. Anyway, leaders in social policy for Third Way. Third Way. Every call to abolish ICE risks squandering one of the clearest opportunities in years to secure a meaningful reform of immigration enforcement while handing Republicans exactly the fight they want. Well, we've already fixed the immigration thing, so good luck with that. You destroyed it for years. But here is a GOP congressman talking about the reconciliation and what they're going to do. And what they're going to do is all federal aid, all government largesse cut off to illegals. You come here illegally, you get nothing.
Now, Republicans in Congress can and must go it alone with the second reconciliation bill. And this RSC's framework is all about making life affordable again for the American people and putting the American worker first. It prevents illegal immigrants from obtaining all government handouts, cracks down on rampant fraud like the abuse and mess that we've seen, and Democrats...
Yeah, go ahead, Democrats, and try and block that. Try to shut down the government over that.
States like in Minnesota, and reforms funding so only citizens count when we're doling out federal funds to the states. Now this is our moment to flip the script, restore balance for the American people, and put power back in your hands, not bureaucrats for national.
Yeah, because they've been abusing the snot out of us and stealing from us for years. You know, Nick Shirley had 500 million views on that video where he exposed all the Somali daycare centers that are fraudulent, and it's so laughable. They were like, oh, no, he went in off hours. Really? He went at 11 in the morning. Oh, yeah, because, the people only bring their kids there from 2 to 10 in the afternoon. I mean, honestly, whoa, wow. We know, we get it. The jig is up, all right? It's all fraud. But he brought up, there's a new way that the Somalians did. Maybe there's a reason why the Somalians aren't learning the English in Minnesota. Listen to this. This is Nick Shirley talking to his friend. It's a David Koch, I believe, K-O-C-H, the older guy who hangs out with him and does all the, the videos and whatnot. Listen to this.
When a Somali goes to the doctor, magically, they forgot how to speak English, so they need an interpreter there.
Yeah.
So the county brings in an interpreter at $100 an hour, minimum 8 hours, to interpret what the doctor is telling the patient.
Wow.
So that's another layer of fraud that nobody's even talked about or revealed.
And it's millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars all on its own. Interpreter services.
Yeah, because what percentage do you think of these people, especially if they were born here in the United States, they speak English, right?
Of course they do.
They should not be saying no English.
And then remember, the interpreter has to get to the doctor's office or the hospital. How are they getting there? The transportation company, and then they got to get back home. And that patient had to get to the doctor's office. How? Transportation. Kids got to get to school. How? Transportation. That's why I said the transportation is the whole of, really, I think, all of this.
So basically what we're talking about between all these fraudulent businesses, the daycare, the autism centers, the adult daycare, the home services, and then the transportation, and then on top of that you have it looped in with them going eventually to the doctors for translators to be paid by the state.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I had no idea when I said that the abuses and usurpations of us are much greater than those that the founders experienced. And now I know, it is much worse than I could have ever imagined, but Democrats are still lying about it.
This cell phone video, you can see Renee Good using her car to block federal agents for more than 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, I was going to move on to the Renee Good thing. We are going to move to that. But I'm going to tell you, the fraud is worse than we could have ever imagined. And they've been stealing from us. Just stealing from us. This is Scott Bessent, and this is why Tim Votes did not provide any security for the Secretary of the Treasury in Minnesota, because he's about to give old Timmy a rectal exam.
I want to echo your statements, because as I spend time here, it is good to be back in Minnesota, Minneapolis. I am hopeful too, because even though it is cold outside, sunshine is the best antiseptic.
Yeah.
And we are going to clean this out. We are going to stop it. We are going to make recoveries. And as Jennifer said, we are going to get the money flowing back to people like her organization who help the children.
Yeah, how about we put some people in jail? I'd kind of like to see the people going to jail thing. I really want to see the people going to jail thing really bad, and Americans want to see the people going to jail thing really, really bad, because honestly, sick and damn tired of it. Here's Donald Trump talking about, like Ilhan Omar. It's pretty obvious. She doesn't seem to be very much on the up and up, as it were.
We intend to imprison any fraudster, politician, or public official involved in these sick plots to loot and pillage our country. Think of that Ilhan Omar. Yeah. She lives in Somalia. They don't have a government, they don't have a military, they don't have police, they don't have anything. All they have is murder and robbing ships, bringing in ships, pirates. That's stopped. Same missile, ping. That's the end of them. It's amazing how that can stop corruption. Those missiles, they never miss. The same one, exactly the same one.
That is fantastic. And of course, Ilhan Omar is feeling the heat, man. She is feeling the heat. And here she is lying after all of the indictments, all the fraud exposing, saying, there's nothing to see here.
They have not been able to tell us what is the purpose for this search.
Oh, dear.
They haven't been able to produce any evidence that they are finding.
My God.
People who are undocumented, who have committed crimes. Almost every single person that they have information and
what a despicable human being. Here, I'll give you some evidence, you psycho.
You have an individual from Laos, illegal alien convicted of violent sexual assault of minors.
Yeah.
An Salvadoran convicted of 3 counts of homicide.
Yeah.
Another Laos convicted of sexual assault of a girl under 13 years old and procuring a minor for prostitution. You have a Mexican illegal convicted of homicide, a Sudanese illegal convicted of homicide, another Mexican national convicted of sexual assault of a child. You've got a Somalian citizen, illegal immigrant convicted of homicide, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, the list goes on, and she's doing that. And here she is being confronted by a reporter from Lindell TV, I guess. And she didn't want to answer any questions. She was all snotty and everything. I just pray she has to be sent back to Somalia, penniless, back to Somalia.
Congresswoman, Republicans have repeatedly stated that you committed immigration fraud. Are you at all worried about a formal investigation that could perhaps lead to your deportation?
Are you one of those people?
You're one of those people. People who tell the
I don't know
truth.
what that means, but are you at all concerned?
Do I look concerned?
You should be.
I guess not.
You should be.
What about the Minnesota fraud hearing? You didn't show up for that. Do you think you should have? Why should I have? Happened in your state. Don't you want to defend your position?
There were people from my state that were there.
Oh.
Okay, but why not you? I mean, there's allegations that you're complicit in the fraud. Wouldn't you want to show up?
Why would there be an allegation that I'm complicit? How would I be complicit?
Because, let's see, you steered $250 million toward the Feed Our Future, and you actually were, you held your campaign victory party in one of the restaurants that got $9 million fraudulently, and, and all the fraud is coming Somalians.
Well, what about Tim Wolf?
You just ask stupid questions? Is this your thing?
It's not stupid questions. Your answers are stupid.
I'm curious to get your thoughts. I mean, there's a lot of controversy around the issue. $9 billion in
Oh, I hope she is she's having sleepless nights as she lays next to her brother in bed. She has sleepless nights. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Greenland is a land that should be our land. That's what I have planned. Plan for Greenland. It is strategic. It's rich in minerals. Greenland was made for you and me. I'd like to own it, but Denmark's wary. Might have to use the military. Security it would provide it. Greenland was made for you and me. Once we own it, we could rename it. Could call it Trump land or even Don land. It's gonna happen. It will be ours soon. Greenland was made for you and me. Greenland was made for you and me.
Adam Schiff's scared, and he ought to be inside of a cell. He's gonna see Pencil Neck is going to jail. Lied on his mortgage not one time but twice. Get a good lawyer, that's my advice. Pencil Neck is going to jail. Leak classified information to the New York Times. Schiff will be prosecuted for his so many crimes. His Senate seat will be taken away. Adam Schiff, he's gonna pay. Pencil Neck is headed to jail. Watch Adam sweat. A lengthy sentence he'll get. Pencil Neck, he's headed to jail. testify about Jeffrey Epstein, but I've got lots to cover up, if you know what I mean. They'll ask me about the island, on what went on down there. I could go and tell the truth, but I wouldn't dare. I am dodging subpoenas, and so is my wife. We will try to dodge them for the rest of our lives. We are dodging subpoenas. Comer says we'll fail, because if we keep on dodging, he will send us to jail. We are dodging subpoenas, could find us in contempt from prosecution. We are not exempt. We are dodging subpoenas because we are afraid.
John Lee Hooker.
Oh, it's not John Lee Hooker, it's Big Head Todd.
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. How, 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 how.
That is a John Lee Hooker original, redone by Big Head Todd and the Monsters. Thank you very much. A band that I have followed for many, many years. Many, many years. That's their cover of it. It just kicks butt. I mean, it just kicks butt. A lot of comments on the comment line today about the show being on fire today and me being whatever, exuberant, I guess. And I try to be that way every day. I do. I try to greet the day with joy every day. You would be just disgusted. If you're not a morning person, you'd hate me. Because I get out of bed and I go and get my coffee and I blend my coffee protein with this little cool thing. They got this little blender thingy from Beam's Dream Powder. Oh my God, there's this little whiskey and it goes, not whiskey, but it whisks the powder into the coffee, and I drink that, and I grab a couple of pieces of bread, and I walk out the door and I feed it to the birds, and I talk to the birds in the garage, and my neighbors think I'm friggin' nuts, and I smile, and I'm a happy person. I've been through a lot of crap, and I think we're winning. We've been through a lot together. You and I have been through a lot together. We went through censorship and watching our border be open and screaming at the top of lungs, close the border, screaming as we watched friends and neighbors die of fentanyl poisoning, screaming when they shut down our churches for a virus that didn't require that and destroyed our kids' education. We went through hell. And we're on the other side of it. They're not done. We still have to beat them. But we've been through so much together, and I'm here in Washington, D.C. You know, they threw everything at Donald Trump. Whoever is in charge threw a lot of crap at me, too. You know, I mean, it's not very often you turn your life over to God and you commit yourself to marriage and sobriety, and then your wife decides to divorce you 4 years after you turn your life around and turn your life to sobriety. I'm like, who's doing this? Who is doing this? So, 2-minute warning, fourth quarter. That's where I am in my life. And I plan on winning. So there you go. This whole nonsense in Minnesota, Renee Good being murdered by an ICE agent is falling apart. The left is going to be moving on to something else. They're going to move on to something else.
On video, you can see Renee Good using her car to block federal agents for more than 3 minutes before the ICE agent even...
This is before the ICE agent was in front of the car and she tried to run him over and he shot her.
Approaches her. At one point, you can see her dancing in the driver's seat as she's honking the horn. The Trump administration argues this is yet another piece of evidence showing that Good was out there intentionally obstructing federal agents. But even now, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says he's convinced the video shows she was trying to leave.
You don't need to take my word for it. You don't need to take their word for it. Watch the video.
Yeah, we did.
You had a person that was definitively trying to just get out of there. They were trying to leave the scene. That is not a person that's trying to run an ICE.
This jackass has destroyed Minneapolis. I mean, the city is a crap hole. I lived there in the 90s. I used to go downtown, do stand-up at Acme Comedy down there. Nick Swartzen was down there. We were doing stand-up comedy on Tuesday, open mic night, all of this. There were great places, the restaurants downtown. There were all sorts of places to go, and now it is a crap hole. It is Mogadishu, for God's sake. Here is Jacob Fry denying and ducking on violence that he is allowed to happen.
You're seeing it in real time. You are aware that 18 U.S. Code 111 makes it a federal crime to impede, interfere, or even assault officers, and we see the protesters crossing a line of protesting, throwing rocks, hitting cars, and interfering in the federal government's view.
By the way, it's backfiring. They're sending more agents. They're going to lose.
Of their operation of
not stop the damn thing.
Carrying out federal immigration law enforcement.
Look, we have had perhaps tens of thousands of people peacefully protesting in the streets. And at the same time,
throwing them frozen water bottles, just like they did in 2020.
Yeah, they are going to stand up for their neighbors. And what we are seeing time and time again is unconstitutional conduct by ICE. ICE is not new. Our separation ordinance in the city is not new. ICE has been around for decades.
Oh, you're just so full of crap. I mean, honestly. So this is Josh Earnest. Remember old Josh Earnest? He was a spokesman, White House spokesperson for Barack Obama. Listen to how genteel he was when it came to ICE enforcing immigration laws.
And some of the reports,
like 2012 or so,
suggest that families. The Los Angeles Times quoted a woman saying that her family in Georgia, ICE agents came in, looked room to room, woke up her own kids. They were shaking with fear. Wondering if the administration can confirm that those operations have begun, and whether the White House has had input directly with DHS about how those operations should be handled, and whether there are any concerns about striking fear into the communities, including those who may be here illegally.
David, for individual operations, I'd refer you to the Department of Homeland Security, and they can discuss with you individual operations that were carried out. What I can tell you is that the Department of Homeland Security has prioritized the cases of recent arrivals into the United States without proper documentation.
It's illegal.
This is consistent with the kinds of priorities that the President himself has talked about.
The President himself talked at all about, with the Department of Homeland Security, about sort of the way these operations are conducted.
Well, obviously, in terms of setting policy, the White House and the Department of Homeland Security have had discussions about some of these matters, but ultimately when it comes to enforcement issues, those are decisions that are made by law enforcement professionals.
Wow, that's just amazing, isn't it? You see, because they twisted it. Barack Obama used to talk about, hey, if you got kids and you're in the country illegally, you're going to have to leave with your kids. We're going to separate families. He said the same thing, guys, but the Democrat Party decided to import tens of millions because they were losing on the idea front, so they had to steal elections. So they opened up the southern border and they created a virus and they sent out millions of mail-in votes. It was a giant thing, and now they're losing, and they will lose in perpetuity because we're fixing we fixed the border, we're deporting the illegals, and we are cleaning the voter rolls, and we're taking away the government largesse from people who don't deserve it. Let's take a break and come back. Erin Van Natta, Daily Caller, up next. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson for Quince.com. Colder days mean layers, and your winter wardrobe may have you considering a winter reset. I went to a jazz club the other night wearing a Quince tee, another shirt over it, and a Quince wool jacket. A woman said, "You look fine." I mean, it blew me away. I've spent every dime for my kids and my wife for 25 years. Now I feel confident and I look good with Quince. I couldn't believe it. Quince has everything you need. Men's Mongolian cashmere sweaters, wool coats, leather, and suede outerwear. Each piece made with premium materials by trusted factories that meet rigorous standards. No middlemen means no traditional markups. The wool coat I wore to the jazz club the other night turned heads, cost less than I paid elsewhere. You can also find anything for your home, including kitchen, bath, and even for travel. Refresh your wardrobe at Quince. Go to quince.com/Newsmax. That's QUINCE.com/Newsmax for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Newsmax. That's quince.com/Newsmax.
When you're a man who calls himself a girl, it can be a bonus. When you compete with women, you have to hide. Ooh, that pair of cojones. I can cycle against the girls, that's my choice. I can steal their medals with this manly voice, 'cause the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, 'cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel, they make me feel like a transgender woman.
Hey guys, it's Carson for Relief Factor. You know, I saw an ad for Relief Factor a while back, and I saw a guy literally in tears with how he talked about the pain that he was experiencing was gone. It happened to me too. I started it taking a few months ago. My hip was really bothering me, and I wondered, because I'm the age of, replacement of joints and whatnot, if it could be better. And I started taking Relief Factor, and it healed. It's a 100% drug-free, research-based formula created to help your body's natural inflammatory response, the same one that causes everyday aches and pains from aging, exercise, overexertion, and just normal living. It helped me with my hip, my neck, my shoulders, all the places that remind you you're not 25 anymore. Relief Factor supports a healthy response to inflammation, helping you stay active and keep those joints and muscles feeling good. It's made with 4 key ingredients: omega-3 fatty acids, resveratrol, curcumin, and icariin, each one helping from a different angle. You can start with the 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That's less than a cup of coffee a day. So if you're tired of creaking like an old floorboard every time you move, give Relief Factor a try. Go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com and feel the difference. Relief Factor, because getting out of bed shouldn't count as a workout.
Is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl, or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition? For equal protection purposes, what does it mean to be a boy or a girl, or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was just understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded. We do not have a definition for the court.
Oh my God. What a circuitous way to get to a point. I mean, if your GPS had a voice that had an IQ of 40, that's the route to what a man and a woman is. That's the route they'd take you. Honestly, mind-bogglingly stupid. I have no words. Erin Van Natta of the Daily Caller joins us on the Newsmax. Hello, Erin. How are you?
I'm doing great. Rob, how are you?
I'm just trying to hope that we can stamp out the last little embers of nonsense and replace them with common sense in this new year. And apparently nonsense is still burning in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, we, on the one hand, it's disappointing, but here at the Daily Caller, we get a lot of content out of that.
Oh, Lord, are you kidding me? You want to talk about content? What do you think this show is about? I mean, my God. And then yesterday, Ketanji Brown Jackson, she literally used the word cisgendered, which didn't exist 5 years ago. I mean, how stupid? I mean, honestly, I'm not going to filter this. She's not intelligent. If you fall for woke nonsense that was created and you buy into it, what academia fed you, why? How could you get on the Supreme Court? I think we know. What are your thoughts about the overall arguments yesterday, and what do you think is going to happen? I think it's obvious that hopefully it'll be a 5-4 decision in favor of common sense. What do you think?
I hope so too. I mean, we're lucky in that we have, an ostensibly conservative majority on the Supreme Court. I think in cases like this, it's kind of mind-boggling, honestly, when you're listening to these, especially someone like Ketanji Brown Jackson speaking about these topics. I believe she was the one when she was nominated. She said she couldn't answer what a woman was because she said she wasn't a biologist. And she's just continued that line of thought throughout her career so far. But I don't know if you saw, this was circulating on social media.
What?
There was this chart going around on all the qualifications of the various Supreme Court justices. And one of the qualifications that I believe Ketanji, maybe one other justice, one of the boxes she checked off was went to a public high school. Like, that was one of the purported qualifications for a Supreme Court justice. And look, I went to public school.
Yes, so did I.
I don't think that's enough of a qualification to be a Supreme Court justice. So.
Well, I went to a very fine school. I grew up in Iowa. And it was before the nonsense hit the fan, and Iowa was at the time very top rated in primary education around the country, so I have an advantage there. But clearly, public education is failing us. Honestly, this is just so utterly. And the thing about it is, no regard for the women who are the larger portion of those injured by this. Only regard for the person who is, and sorry, just a couple of years ago, it was regarded as a mental illness. And all of a sudden, it's, you are a victim, you are a this, you are a that, oh my God. And it's almost making like the women who are being abused here into the abusers. It's so preposterous. It's just bloody preposterous.
Yeah, it's completely backwards. But I do think that we're seeing sort of this trend decreasing. I believe it's on the decline, which is good. I mean, obviously you have the cohort of activists that are just never going to give up this issue, but it's become less popular to go along with this nonsense. I remember actually there was, I believe it was Keira Knightley, the actress. She did an audiobook reading of one of the Harry Potter books, and she was asked by some journalist if that was about J.K. Rowling's views, and she's like, the journalist said, oh, people are upset about, you're doing this reading, and she was like, really? I didn't know. She's like, whatever.
Wow.
So, even people in Hollywood are kind of giving this issue up because it's so unpopular.
Yeah, you got that. Billy Bob Thornton's got a streaming show, I'm Landman, and they've been calling out some of this nonsense. I saw a piece yesterday where this young woman moves in with this woke, broke, vegan, lesbian, bi-gendered, trans, whatever the hell, they, them, and it was just like, it was glorious. Have you seen that clip?
I haven't. I have heard that Landman is kind of pushing back against these, the woke themes that are constantly in TV shows. So I hope that they continue to do that and don't backtrack, which I'm sure the executives of that show are facing pressure to kind of kowtow to the vocal minority. But I hope they don't.
Have you seen what CBS News? Have you seen the pivot they've been doing? I wonder if it's too little, too late. I mean, the letter networks are never going to experience the glory they once had, obviously.
Yeah.
But CBS News has really pivoted this Tony Pokapul, whatever, I can't remember. I'll figure it out eventually. But he's been pretty good. He had a pretty good interview with Donald Trump last night, and he's actually fair.
Well, that might have something to do with the definitely the shift in editorial leadership.
Oh yes,
with Barry Weiss.
Oh yes.
So probably wouldn't have happened last year, and I'm sure that there are staff members who are just, really against that and are kind of
of course
pushing back against any fair treatment of anyone on the right. But I would still advise. I mean, I think this is good that CBS is making that change, but I'd still advise people would look at other sources.
Yes, of course.
They're still a giant corporation, right? So.
100%. And this also happened to the Washington Post. There were a bunch of the snotty coastal elites of the Washington Post, like tenured professors, who started whining when wasn't it Bezos bought the Post and said, "Hey, how about being journalists?" Remember that kind of thing happened. Same thing's going with several career prosecutors. The Justice Department Civil Rights Division announced they are leaving the department shortly after they learned there would be no civil rights probe into the fabled shooting of Renee Good. At least 6 prosecutors, most of which are supervisors of the Civil Rights Division, will be leaving their jobs because they're not going to go after the officer who shot Renee Good because it was justified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a report that came out, I believe today, that says the ICE officer in question suffered internal bleeding.
Wow.
Wow. And, I mean, on the one hand, if these prosecutors are voluntarily leaving, good.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
Right? The Trump admin doesn't have to fire them. They can go work at the ACLU now,
100%. We call that, Erin? We call it self-deportation.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk more about this on the other side of the break. If you could hold, there's a couple of other things. Obviously, it's never a slow news day, Erin. You know this as well as I do. And also, think about some of the things you've been working on as well, because I'd love to hear what you are working on exclusively. Erin Van Natta of The Daily Caller. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
register Republican. You're a blue dot in a red area, just register Republican. Then you get to say who gets to be their primary candidate. Register Republican. Just register Republican. It doesn't matter. You can go online. That little card doesn't make a difference. It doesn't actually mean anything. You can just register Republican. Let's all just register Republican. We can all register Republican. What will happen if the Republican Party and the MAGA Party all starts getting crazy leftist LGBTQ folk and we can all just register Republican?
Well, I got to tell you, this will be a moment in time we remember when white liberal women went freaking nuts. I identified the white liberal Karen years ago. This week we heard Jesse Waters finally got it. He said they're cul-de-sac dwelling crazy cat ladies and the emasculated men in their lives. That's your Democrat Party. Those are the people who are going after ICE agents. And if you've noticed lately, I mean, the internet is just populated with these bat guano crazy obscene white liberal women. And it is a cultural phenomenon. I heard yesterday on Jesse mentioned yesterday a comparison that I made years ago to the Salem witch trials. It was that same sort of mania, and it was young white women going after, they're suddenly witches, we got to kill the witches and all that. And I said that years ago. Erin Van Natta, I mean, I think this could be the year of that the Karen is exposed and denigrated. What do you think?
Yeah, it would seem that's the case. I know that people on the left and some on the right are kind of referring to this phenomenon as dark woke.
Dark woke.
And there was this interesting piece in Unheard, Emily Jashinsky, but she sort of breaks this down and explains how a lot of these women are like recruited by these groups that provide a sense of community. A lot of them, probably are lonely or struggling with various mental illness, which definitely doesn't excuse their actions, but it certainly explains why they're drawn to. I mean, it's crazy when you watch these videos because they're clearly not strong enough to take on a grown male ICE agent, but they're
shooting their mouths off. They're like the Chihuahua, and on the other side of the fence is the pit bull, and you open the gate, and we got a problem here, And by the way, Gen Z, they're calling crazy white women Jessicas. I don't like just destroying somebody's name because there's no male equivalent. What's the male equivalent? Is it maybe it should be what's her name? The mayor of Minneapolis. I'm drawing a blank on his.
Jacob Frey.
Yeah, Jacob. Maybe we should call him Jacobs. But I know some good Jacobs, but there's no male equivalent. Right. And I don't want to just call Jessicas. I don't want to destroy Jessicas. Karen's already had a hell of a year.
Yeah. No, I agree with the name thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Renee Good shooting, I think this was the next thing because the Monday before it was Donald Trump is a war criminal for going after Maduro and free Maduro. And then the week before that it was Pete Hegseth is a war criminal because he's blowing up the boats. And now, they're always looking for the next thing. I think this Renee Good thing is beginning to fall. I think the corruption in Minneapolis is really coming to a head here. We've got Scott Bessent there, and Donald Trump said he's cutting off funds to sanctuary cities and states, cleaning up the voter rolls. What are your thoughts on the exposition of all this fraud, and what do you think is going to happen?
Man, it's wild when you just look into the extent of this. One of our reporters, Derek Van Buskirk, he actually talked to a lawmaker in Somalia about just how entrenched the fraud pipeline is. Yeah. And, he went into depth on like all the fraud in Somalia's government and how a lot of this is affecting U.S. taxpayers because we're like the major sort of donor to Somalia via all these nonprofits, and it's ridiculous.
I want to see people perp walked, man. I do. We've got to see people go to jail. Donald Trump is promising it. And that Ilhan Omar, that Keith Ellison, that Tim Volz, they were all very aware of what was going on and maybe even steering some of that money because they were getting political donations out of it and votes out of it, by the way. Did you see that Hillary Clinton did not show up to testify before Congress today? So now she and Billy and Willie. Do you think that Jim Comer and Republicans have the stones to have them spend a little time in the stony lonesome?
I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ridiculous. They were willing to throw Donald Trump in jail. They wouldn't have thought twice about throwing Donald Trump in jail for 700 years.
No. I mean, to be fair, a lot of that does lay at the feet of the Justice Department, which obviously they have a lot going on, but I kind of thought that there would have been more actions taken against people like Clinton and Comey, and I don't know. It just seems that that's sort of stalled, or we haven't really seen much movement.
Well, I saw this morning that Donald Trump, this was on the Newsmax X account, that Trump is very frustrated by the DOJ and not having people indicted. And the bleep's got to happen, girl, because we waited a long damn time for this, and we want. You call it retribution, I don't even care. It's called accountability, and it's got to happen.
Yeah.
What else are you working on, Erin Van Natta?
Well, our Substack has been doing great. You can sign up for the Daily Caller Substack. We have a bunch of newsletters. I'm probably going to start writing there soon when I'm not editing. So definitely go on our Substack. We recently just had our White House correspondent just reported today, Reagan Reese, that Trump is freezing all immigration from Somalia amid the fraud scandal.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely go on our site, our Substack, sign up if you want to see my work and also the work of our reporters, because our motto is "Rebels in the Swamp."
Hell yeah,
that's what we're doing.
By the way, did you move? I thought you were going to move to Idaho or something. Did you move?
I did, yeah.
Woo!
No, I'm in Idaho right now. It's kind of cloudy, but usually I have a view of the mountains. So. Well,
yeah, it's still a little crazy out there, but there are parts of Idaho that are, it's a beautiful state. It's an absolute beautiful state. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Erin, so good to talk to you. If you're ever in the swamp, the studio is going to be up and running. We're going to be doing some live interviews here in the studio. You'd be more than welcome, but you always do great work. You are on Twitter at Van Natta, EVANNATTA 1776. Anywhere else?
That and our website,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Daily Caller. Thank you for being on the show today. God bless. Have a glorious rest of your week, okay?
You too, Rob. Thanks so much.
Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson from Birch Gold. A new year means new financial
streamers.
I know. Your savings are secure and diversified. Hi guys. Why is Joe Rogan trending? I wonder. I was like the trends. Sometimes the trends are bullcrap because a lot of times they're just the things trend because there are bots on the Twitter feed that like Donald Trump is going to jail was trending. I'm like, oh yeah, well, because somebody's making it up. Anyway, look at how busy you guys are today, man. You guys are crazy over on the YouTubeage, the America Marcy and Blockbuster 2K, and you guys are Deplorable Dinosaur and Gary McGovern. Hello, Gary McGovern. How you doing, brother? He says, I love this song. We're talking about the boom, 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 boom. That sounded good. The Big Head Todd version of that song, boom, 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 is freaking great. Oh, T. Willis and Round a Pony, what's going on? Good to see you over there. Somebody's going in for surgery today. Was it Dookie Bear? Dookie Bear in for surgery today? We wish you well, Dookie Bear. Hope everything's going okay. Nice to see you over on the YouTubeage. Got to load some more comments over here. Kathy Doman, good to see you there. I need a nap. Yeah, I will eventually. I'm going on, full speed here these last 3 hours since I got out of bed this morning. Got out of bed this morning at about 6:30. Usually I get at 5:30, 6:30. If it's 5:30, sometimes they say, bullcrap, I'm sleeping more. And then I lay there for an hour until I wake up at 6:30. But we got another hour of the show, guys. Thanks for watching, and please share with others and subscribe to the podcast if you would, please. Please do. Subscribe to the podcast. Share with others. Got to grow this, make it bigger. Grow this, make it bigger. There we go. Time to talk. Here we go.
Rob, get your engine ready.
Come on, baby. This is not an EV. And it never will be. Ford had a huge year last year, so did GM, because these EV mandates were a joke, and EVs are for posers. Yeah, and I only say that for people who buy EV pickups. You're a poser. You're a poser. If you don't know how to use the bed of that truck, if you do know how to use the bed of the truck, you'd never get an EV. So, an EV pickup truck, if you're going to Whole Foods, I guess, but otherwise you're just a poser. But anyway, Ford's kicking them out. They need 5,000 employees to get on. They make 6 figures building trucks. They do. And unfortunately, a lot of people with worthless degrees can't do. So Ford is looking for jobs, among others. By the way, gold at $4,611 today per ounce. $4,600 an ounce, up $2,000 from last year. Silver's over $90 today. Silver's over $90 today. What's doing it? Well, Jerome Powell being investigated. What's going on in Iran? What's going around the world? The dollar's weaker. All of these things, it's making metals more precious. Central banks are buying gold because gold always has value. It always does. It always has been precious. It's called a precious metal, for God's sake. Is Bitcoin called precious? No. Unless it's like, I want the precious. Yeah. Honestly, gold is precious. If you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold offering a rebate up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, again, text my name, Rob, to 989898. Everybody's got a gold company. Every podcaster's got a gold company. Yeah, Joe Blow's Gold or Goldie Hawn's Gold or whatever. No. Birch Gold, A+ rating from the BBB. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of 5-star ratings everywhere, including me, because they got that my money. Text Rob to 989898 before it's too late. Will you? Will you do that? Will you just do that? Here's Tony Ducapel of CBS. Different than CBS has been in a long time.
We are not even 2 weeks now into the new year, and it feels like a decade has passed. The U.S. captured Venezuela's former president, Nicolas Maduro. Reports are that as many as 12,000 protesters have been killed by Iran's government as Trump weighs intervention. Anti-ICE protesters have taken to the streets of Minneapolis after the shooting death of Renee Nicole Good. And tonight, we walked into not one but two exclusive news-making conversations. The CEO of General Motors on the future of American-made cars, and the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, on the questions that matter most. You may not agree with everything you hear on this broadcast, but we trust you to listen, and we trust you to decide for yourself.
Unlike Rachel Madcow, who used to, when Donald Trump had a press conference, fade out of it and say, well, he's going to lie anyway, so we're not going to put it on because I'm your mom. I'm your lesbian mother. I don't know, whatever. I got some more on the other side because CBS in the morning with Gayle King is completely partisan. Still completely partisan. Judge Janine talks about Jerome Powell and why Jerome Powell is in hot agua, among other things. And Adam Guillette from Accuracy and Media next hour. He's always fun. The third hour of the show is right ahead. Don't go anywhere.
now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show, and this hour we got a bunch of stuff on the plate, including Judge Jeanine explains why they're going after Jerome Powell. It has nothing to do with political targeting. He was given an opportunity to come forward with information, just explain what's going on over there, since they're $1 billion over budget, building the Taj Mahal, for God's sakes, and basically taking advantage of taxpayers and all of that. And so Judge Jeanine is talking about that. I'll share the details on that. Also, Trump on CBS last night and talking about Iran, what we're going to do with Iran, and what Iran is doing to what the mullahs and what the Ayatollahs doing to their people. The son of a bee needs to die. He does. He needs to die. I told you when the peace deal, whatever, with Hamas, I said, Iran, the Ayatollah, cannot remain in power. He can't. That's it. He's got to be deposed. That's it. Last night I went to a show in Annapolis, Maryland at the Classic Theater of Maryland. It's the second show I've seen there. I saw A Christmas Carol there in December. So it was fine production. And then last night I just decided to have a little bit of fun. I went and saw a review of some of the, like if Marty McFly's parents, the prom. It was like that. It was this review of it's called At the Hop, right? So it's like Marty McFly, dream prom kind of, and they were in costume doing the music of the 50s, and I was like the youngest guy there, because you get Marty McFly's parents there now in their 70s and 80s, and it was really fun to watch. I mean, there's an 80-year-old woman in front of me. She had a walker. She was like just table dancing with me. It was really fun. It was nice to see them relive. Someday they'll do reviews and we'll be table dancing to Nirvana. We Gen Xers, they'll have Pearl Jam, and then we'll be sitting there at the table. Oh, yeah, I remember when Eddie Vedder used to sing that song, and I remember Teen Smells Like Teen Spirit. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be, and it was a lot of fun. And they got a bunch of neat shows. But it's called Classic Theater of Maryland, and it's owned and run by this wonderful woman, and she's Sally Boyette is her name, Sally Boyette, and she also owns the oldest inn and pub in Maryland. It was built in 1740, and it's right near the Capitol in Annapolis. And Annapolis, is filled with insane people because of the Maryland General Asylum. But it's a really delightful little town. And you go down by the bay, and there's a place called Ego Alley where the big boats, there's a tight little cove, and people bring their boats in to be seen. That's why it's called Ego Alley. And it's really cool, and you get a crab cake, and oh my God. It's a Classic Theater of Maryland. We might have to do an event there. Oh, I got to tell you this. I'm going to give you a little hint. Coming up with the 250th anniversary of America, I'm doing a special event with my anchor station, WCBM in Baltimore, where we get on luxury coaches and we go to Gettysburg and go through the battlefields and get a history lesson and have lunch and hang out. Oh, this may be worth driving in. Yeah, I'll give you details on it. I can't give you all of them right now, but some really cool things are happening. By the way, Donald Trump is getting a lot of heat for flipping off a guy at a car factory yesterday, and it's because this guy was being a complete D-bag and said something to the effect of, you're a pedophile, and all that. So Donald Trump flipped him off, and I said, hell yeah, okay. But the left is like, oh, that's unpresidential and everything. Well, here's Joe Biden back when he was the president, and he was at a factory, and a factory worker confronted him.
So what do you think about this? About how you intend on getting the union vote when there's a large portion of the union workers that are gun enthusiasts, and you are actively trying to diminish the Second Amendment right and take away our gun.
Report.
All right, thank you.
Now, discuss. You're not allowed to own any weapon. I'm not taking your gun away at all.
Yeah, you're full of bleep. You're full of bleep. And then he forgot what he was doing, and he pooped his pants, and then he went to bed. And then went on vacation. So there you go. Yeah, whatever. You know what? Donald Trump has endured so much bullcrap, 98% negative coverage and all of this incivility. Screw him. I don't care. Screw them. I don't even care. I'm glad he flipped him off. Who cares? Honestly. I'm glad he's not presidential. What the hell was presidential when Joe Biden and Barack Obama were there? Like, limp? I mean, flaccid. Iranian protesters were lured into killing zones by undercover security forces, then massacred in ambushes. Iranian security posing as ordinary civilians to lure protesters into killing zones before opening fire. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps have been infiltrated the protests. They claim the plainclothes GC members pretend to help and offer guidance only to shepherd protests into specific locations where deadly forces unleash lethal violence on them. They come dressed as civilians, say, let's help. Later it becomes clear they encourage people to go into places where they're actually killing zones. They're doing this so people become more afraid and stop trusting each other. The claims come as Iran's official death toll surged past 2,000. The Ayatollah needs to be killed. You can't say that. Yeah, I can. He's an SOB and he needs to be, he needs to have a lead injection because he's a scumbag and he has presided over 50,000 acts of terror and this caliphate and this nonsense for 47 years, and it's time to go. Here is Donald Trump. He was told last night by a reporter, somebody said, hey, Iran says they're going to retaliate against you if you attack them.
Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it is worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Well, Mr. President, we got to get on this, man. Every day someone else dies. Every day someone else is tortured. Every day. 26-year-old Iranian shopkeeper was set to face execution today after he was tried, convicted, and sentenced for taking part in a protest Thursday. Family of Erin Van Natta made a desperate last-minute bid to save him last night by protesting outside this prison he's in, where the young man is held in solitary confinement. We've got to do something. There's a point where if you have the opportunity to bomb the railroad tracks at Auschwitz, you bomb them. You bomb them. Here's the president talking last night with Tony Ducapil of CBS.
Americans woke up this morning and they saw that you said help is on the way.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of help on the way and in different forms, including economic help from our
25% tariff on every country that does business with Iran.
Standpoint, and not going to help Iran very much. And, we put Iran out of business with their nuclear capacity, and now, depending on what's actually happening, nobody's been able to give us accurate numbers about how many people they've killed.
Well, on that point,
it looks like it could be a pretty substantial number, and that's going to be a lot of problems.
A lot of problems. On that point, you did say the U.S. would get involved if Iran started killing protesters. Yeah. They have, by the many thousands, according to reports.
Well, we'll see what that is. I've heard two numbers, but we'll see what that is.
Well, now we're hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line, or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action.
Come on, baby. Do it. Give him a... put a missile in his Ayatollah. This is Amir Avivi, the chairman of the Israel Defense and Security Forum, and he says the mullah is done and the Ayatollah is done.
That another fight with Iran and Hezbollah and possibly the Houthis is imminent.
Do they spit a lot over there? I mean, in the Middle East, they're you probably want to be on the other side of that. Maybe wear one of those shields like what's the old defense secretary wore on their face, like a salad bar thing on your face.
And today, I can say something we couldn't have said a month ago.
Come on.
This regime is going down.
Come on, baby.
There will be no Iranian regime.
Yes.
And this is going to change entirely the future of Israel.
Can you describe us? It will be an American attack? It will be an Israeli-American attack?
A little bit of both.
So I think it's going to be an American-led attack with the assistance of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Iranians, even before the demonstration, they started rearming again. They wanted revenge. They want to attack us. They want to shoot massive amounts of ballistic missiles on us, and Israel prepared for a preemptive attack.
Yeah, and we're just done. It's done. It has to end. He has to be driven from power. The people of Persia have to be free. We have the opportunity to do it. Barack Obama sent them money, pallets of cash, and they murdered and murdered and murdered and murdered. And now they're murdering. Let's get going here. It's not going to require boots on the ground. Shut up. Donald Trump knows this. It's not going to be boots on the ground. It wasn't boots on the ground getting Maduro. It wasn't boots on the ground destroying the Iranian nuclear capabilities. We don't have boots on the ground in Israel. We finally got a president who's doing it right instead of George W. Bush, who, goes after Osama bin Laden by attacking Iraq, and leading us into a 20-year war. And then Joe Biden surreptitiously and idiotically withdrawing our troops and destroying their hard work and destroying their lives. Ridiculous. Here is the Shah, the heir to the Shah, who is ready to come in and take over. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. But here he is talking about it.
More than 5,000 elements that belong to the military paramilitary forces refuse to go back to their posts, so they don't have to be faced with the duty to crack down on people. This is the beginning of the end of the regime that is hoping to buy some time. They know they're on their way down. The decisive blow can be the game changer and the knockout punch to this regime.
He's got to get a little nudge. There you go. Let's take a break and come back. I want to talk about Judge Jeanine explaining why she and Jerome Powell having some issues here, and why he went on social media like a little crybaby the other night, and she's explaining why he has not been cooperative, and he's claiming victim. That's coming on the other side of the break. Let's take that break. This is the Rob Carson Show.
To that House hearing I didn't show. Me and Hillary decided not to go. We just proved that we've got so much to hide. Though pressure has been applied, me and my wife, we won't comply. About Jeffrey Epstein, we refuse to testify. Cause we know we'd get caught in lie after lie. We won't comply. We won't comply. Jim Comer says I'm in contempt. That from appearing I am not exempt. He wants me arrested. I say let him try. I won't comply. I won't comply. Island trips, I took a lot. When I'm asked about them, I say I forgot. I flew 30 times on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, but I will never explain, no, not me. I will resist, even though my name is at the top of Epstein's list. When you're a man who calls himself a girl, it can be a bonus. When you compete with women, you have to hide. Ooh, that pair of cojones. I can cycle against the girls, that's my choice. I can steal their medals with this manly voice, cause the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel They make me feel like a transgender woman.
We're eating pickles from the dollar store, hot pockets from the Dollar General, chicken wings expired yesterday. We're eating pickles from the dollar store, hot pockets from the Dollar General, chicken wings expired yesterday. I have a rejoin.
Juggy.
Relentlessly slowing the spread of the stupid every day. It's the Rob Carson Show.
Yes, it is. Before we get to Judge Janine, the city of Los Angeles is, they're going to do ice-free zones. Yeah, they think they're going to keep ice from going in, and here's the report from L.A.
Just into the newsroom, LA County is now moving forward with creating ice-free zones amid rising criticism.
Say L.A. is pretty much ice-free, I mean, compared to Minnesota, because, you know, the temperature and stuff.
Criticism and outrage over recent immigration operations.
The County Board of Supervisors just voted on a measure that would start the process. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda, live in Elysian Park.
Yeah, let's not go there. We're not going to go there. But here's CNN last night, a panelist saying, guess what? States can't do anything about it.
I've read both the Minnesota and Illinois lawsuits. They're really political diatribes masquerading as lawsuits. If you look at what both states are asking the courts to do, it's to kick ICE out of those states and cities and to bar ICE from carrying on federal law enforcement in Illinois and Minnesota. That's the top thing both states asked to do, and they cite zero precedent for that. There is zero precedent for that. There is no way a judge can say, you, federal law enforcement agency, you are not allowed to execute federal law in a certain state or city. I think the most that the states could get out of this, if they get sympathetic judges, is a judge who's going to ask questions of ICE, who's going to...
It's not going to work. You are going to get your examination, and you are going to be exposed for all of your fraud. Gavin Newsom. Scumbag. Oh, by the way, he wants to get rid of the billionaire tax. Newsom vows to stop the proposed billionaire tax. He wants to become president so badly. He's never going to be president. He's never going to be president because he's a scumbag. Working behind the scenes to block a proposed tax on billionaires' wealth and was committed to defeating the measure if it reached the ballot. He was behind it 100%. But now he's throwing the the Service Workers International, I believe they're the ones behind this nonsense, and and he was behind it, and now they're over here probably going, what? Yeah. Now he's of course changing his stripes is what he does. Janine, Judge Janine, here she is, Judge Janine, talking about Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell went on. He's the Fed chair. He's going to be gone in May. Interest rates are going to go down. I'm hanging on my house until then, and I'm going to sell it. But he went on online and he said, I'm under indictment and all this. I'm under indictment. He's $1 billion over budget on refurbing the Fed in D.C.
And my request in this case with the Federal Reserve was a legal request. And the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Powell, chose not to give a legal response. Yeah. Instead, he chose to politicize and publicize. Mm-hmm. I did not politicize or publicize any of this. I follow the federal rules. I investigate until I have evidence. And if and when I do, then I go forward with a public statement. Now, what are we talking about?
What?
We're talking about $1 billion in cost overruns.
Yeah.
Talk about fiscal...
That's $1,000 million for you Democrats.
Irresponsibility. Talk about bureaucratic bloat. We're not talking about $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. We're talking about $1 billion in cost overruns in D.C.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Left wing.
On December 19th, we started the investigation in November. On December 19th, we sent a letter, an email, and we said we'd like to talk to people at the Federal Reserve. Give us a call. No response.
If Judge Janine sent me an email, I would respond.
For 10 days. December 29th, please give us a call. We'd like to talk to you. We'd like to speak to you. No response for 10 days. We want to meet them the first week of January. No response. So then we did what any normal prosecutor would do, and we issued legal process.
There you go.
I'm not saying that. He's saying that. So does the Federal Reserve Chairman Powell respond to that? No. What he does is he issues a video. He claims that he's being threatened with a criminal indictment, threatened that the independence of the Fed is under attack, which couldn't be further from the truth. Now, normally what people do is they pick up the phone, they call you, they say, let's talk about it. But if they had responded, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah, because he's a wuss. And Judge Janine kicks butt. That's what it is. I mean, honestly. This is how guys are, you know, where we're like, I don't want a confrontation. Well, he's in a lot of hot water. He's a hell of a lot of hot water, and I would not want to mess with Judge Janine.
You know, if there are cost overruns, is it the contract? Is it the subcontractors, the contractors? Is it normal? And lie to Congress. Did he know about it? Did he know about the numbers? Did he not know about it? I do an investigation, and I do it quietly until I get to the point where I can say something. But the chairman says, no, you're attacking the independence of the Federal Reserve.
Covering something up.
That's not what we're doing.
Yes.
We're doing our job.
Come on.
And I think the sad part about this is no one is above the law, nor should anyone think that they have the right to be above the law, Sean.
Yeah, you know what? Hopefully the case will be, that will be the case with Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton ignoring Congress. Here's Jim Gossett singing about Chairman Powell and the cost overruns at the Fed.
Mr. Chairman, Powell is through.
Trump singing.
The DOJ is coming after you.
Go, Janine.
You lied about the renovation. You're gonna get a permanent vacation, Chairman. Powell should quit.
Boom, 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 boom.
He has proven that he's unfit. Should not serve another day.
No, he shouldn't.
Jerome Powell, please go away. Chairman, Powell, you are toast. Your indictment, we want most.
Yeah, I do.
Hope you see this as a sign.
Tim Waltz and Gavin Newsom.
Jerome Powell, you have crossed the line, Mr. Chairman. You should resign.
There you go, Jim Gossett, ladies and gentlemen. Genius. If you want to help him out, go to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. Give him $10 a month. He does 2 dang songs every day. He's done 3,000 songs since he started working with me 5 years ago, exclusively. He's a genius. You'll be overwhelmed with comedy, and you need this. Arm yourself with it. Share it with other people, because the left can't compete when they're being made fun of. They can't compete when you use mockery and ridicule and genuine satire with truth. That's what we do here. We're the only show in America who does it. That's it. We walk in Rush Limbaugh's footsteps, but no one will ever fill his shoes. And it's important. It's important to be joyful warriors. That's what we do here. All right, let's take a break and come back, shall we? We've got somebody who's always awesome. Adam Guillette joins us from Accuracy in Media to talk about all the stuff that's going on in the news. Don't go anywhere. Hey, guys, it's Carson for Relief Factor. You know, I saw an ad for Relief Factor a while back, and I saw a guy literally in tears with how he talked about the pain that he was experiencing was gone. It happened to me, too. I started it taking a few months ago. My hip was really bothering me, and I wondered, because I'm the age of, replacement of joints and whatnot, if it could be better. And I started taking Relief Factor, and it healed. It's a 100% drug-free, research-based formula created to help your body's natural inflammatory response, the same one that cause everyday aches and pains from aging, exercise, overexertion, and just normal living. It helped me with my hip, my neck, my shoulders, All the places that remind you you're not 25 anymore. Relief Factor supports a healthy response to inflammation, helping you stay active and keep those joints and muscles feeling good. It's made with 4 key ingredients: omega-3 fatty acids, resveratrol, curcumin, and icariin, each one helping from a different angle. You can start with the 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That's less than a cup of coffee a day. So if you're tired of creaking like an old floorboard every time you move, give Relief Factor a try. Go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com and feel the difference. Relief Factor, because getting out of bed shouldn't count as a workout.
Rent-free in libs' heads I'm living. The fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sunny, and Joy. Rent-free I'm occupying. Rosie is lying if she says I'm not in her head. Break free, they simply can't do it. When you get down to it, they have TDS real bad. Hatred, just watch it as it spreads, because inside their heads I live.
Hey guys, it's Carson for Quince.com. Colder days mean layers, and your winter wardrobe may have you considering a winter reset. I went to a jazz club the other night wearing a Quince tee, another shirt over it, and a Quince wool jacket. A woman said, "You look fine." I mean, it blew me away. I've spent every dime for my kids and my wife for 25 years. Now I feel confident and I look good with Quince. I couldn't believe it. Quince has everything you need: men's Mongolian cashmere sweaters, wool coats, leather, and suede outerwear, each piece made with premium materials by trusted factories that meet rigorous standards. No middlemen means no traditional markups. The wool coat I wore to the jazz club the other night turned heads, cost less than I paid elsewhere. You can also find anything for your home, including kitchen, bath, and even for travel. Refresh your wardrobe at Quince. Go to quince.com/Newsmax. That's QUINCE.com/Newsmax for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Newsmax. That's quince.com/Newsmax. No better bumper music in America. Thank you very much. Adam Guillette, Accuracy of Media, joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, there's just a lot of madness out there, isn't there? I mean, just a lot of madness. You know, I asked Santa for a slow news day, and I must have been bad because I haven't gotten it. Have you?
My gosh. I'm on campus today at the University of Washington,
Yes.
and I see a lot of people who I think got coal in their stockings.
I'll tell you what, now, I saw this on your Twitter feed. A University of Wisconsin, or Washington, I should say, investigating one of its researchers who left a comment on X expressing hopes for more conservative assassinations like Charlie Kirk's. Tell me what's going on, bro, and you being there, I want all the deets.
You know, I wonder, previously we thought Columbia University was America's most violent campus, but the University of Washington really is giving them one heck of a run for their money. Wow. Last year they had a student group that was openly passing out Hamas literature, not exaggerating, and selling Hamas t-shirts. The group later took over a building and did over $1 million in damages because the building was donated with funds by Boeing. And as we know, Boeing is evil. They support the U.S. and Israeli military.
Wow.
And now, of course, one of the researchers, as you said, wished for more conservatives to be assassinated and shot in the neck, a la Charlie Kirk. This is a dangerous campus.
Yeah, it is utterly ridiculous, and I'm hoping the children are going to get a damn spanking finally, to be quite honest, Tony. I saw that some universities are cutting their staffs, and I'm hoping, I know we're not going to get a wholesale collapse of higher education, but I'm hoping that, you know, like so many issues the left is on the wrong side of, that this stuff gets investigated. What have you heard about investigating this guy? I know the university has put out a statement. How's the university reacting to this nonsense?
You know, largely silence and indifference. They only put out a statement after we set up uwpromotesmurder.com, where people can send messages directly to the trustees of this university. Only then did they put out a statement. No apologies at all from the individual who hoped for death and murder for students and conservatives here. No apologies from the department. No word if they're suspended. No word if they're being kept away from other students at this time. So I've decided to come visit this university. I'm hoping to get some answers today.
Who have you talked to on campus? And when people find out you're a conservative journalist, are you greeted like Nick Sortor in Minneapolis? What's going on? Or Tim? Are you being treated badly by them?
The last time I came to this campus, it was more obvious who I was, so I, of course, had off-duty law enforcement with me, which I generally need when I visit a campus.
Wow.
Today, I'm doing it a bit more subtly, so aside from overhearing me on the radio show, I don't think anybody yet will watch me dead.
You got the fedora, you got the funny nose and glasses on.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It might actually fit in with the hipsters out here.
I got to tell you, man, I think the bud is off this rose, bro. I think it's being exposed in Minneapolis. You see these ICE agents being attacked. Clearly, it is 100% political. There's no the people of Minnesota. I saw a video that's gone viral this morning. Minnesota woman. They're like, they are so happy. And if you talk to the head of ICE up there, he says that he is greeted 90% of the time by people saying thank you. He goes in, cashier saying thank you, people saying thank you. So this is another issue, another 80-20, even 90-10 issue. That the left is on the wrong side, the violent left is on the wrong side, and I believe that they are doing a death spiral into hell.
You know, they truly are, and it's wild that the people who taught us about microaggressions, the people who told us words mean violence, are the people calling for murder. They're the people smashing up their own campus buildings. They're the people openly supporting Hamas. Now, this university is already under investigation from the Trump administration, but with many of these campuses, I think the administration just cuts a deal, declares victory, moves on to the next one, enabling that university to continue their bad ways. And that's why I think it's incumbent upon us as Americans to deliver accountability when the Trump administration will not.
Yeah, I've said, I came up with the expression, homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews coming together to save America. And I said that last year when these obviously bought and paid for October the 7th, post-October the 7th, pro-Hamas rallies started showing up in New York. I said sooner or later, homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are going to have to go down to these protests and beat the snot out of them. And if you're only defensively, by the way, but the children need a spanking. Did you see that guy, the video that went viral of the conservative being attacked by like 6 of these soy boys and downing them like in the movie Snatch, Brad Pitt, one punch right to the face and they fall over like a fainting goat? Did you see that?
I did see that. You know, in our business, we're not pro-violence. We deliver metaphorical.
I'm just saying defensively.
But we do it pretty darn aggressively and pretty effectively. You know, we own the Guinness World Record for the most domain names. We have 2,300 plus domain names, and they're basically the first and last names of the bad people, like Maramon.com, the researcher at the university are here. We set up a profile explaining what they've done. We work with SEO experts, so if you Google them before a job interview or a date, you see our domain names. And then we even do geo-targeted ads and online ads to make sure everyone on campus and their Facebook friends see the pages we've built.
What is it? How do they usually react? Do they act like garlic to vampires? Do they go into hiding? What do they do? What do they do?
Reactions vary wildly. You know, I did get swatted 13 times when we started doing this.
No kidding.
To the year 23. A swatter's dozen, and I got death threats nearly every single day for a year. That's why I generally bring off-duty law enforcement with me when I visit campuses. But other people learn from their mistakes and apologize. We've had dozens of student groups at Harvard University that apologize for their anti-American, anti-Semitic actions. Whether or not they mean it, I don't care. I don't judge intentions, just results.
Are you on blood pressure medication? Because I couldn't do what you do, brother. I could not do what you do. It's ballsy. Whoever thought that, journalism, you go into war zones and everything, there's bravery involved in bringing truth. Never thought that you'd be broadcasting from a war zone, which is a college campus in America.
Yeah, exactly. And whereas Columbia and Harvard have settled down, I feel safer when I go there. This is a worrisome campus. Wow. You know, any place where you've got people openly promoting terrorism, openly promoting Hamas, ignoring rules from the university. And, of course, when the people were arrested at this campus after smashing up the building, the Soros-backed DA, they didn't do anything. At least as of now, they're supposedly still investigating. So as you and I said, it's up to Americans to deliver accountability when the government will not.
Brother, I credit you for what you're doing. You know what, bro? We're going to win this. They're doing a death spiral into hell. I say the left, they die like movie vampires, dragging, kicking, and screaming, trying to drag us into hell with them, and it's going to fail. I want you to know, I want you to be safe. I mean, I know you are, but man, I really do, because you're ballsy for doing this, brother. You really are, Adam.
You're very kind, and we assist them in their efforts. We amplify their messaging. When they say anti-American, anti-Semitic things, we bring a mobile billboard to their place of work with their name and their picture, and it says, University of Washington's leading anti-Semite or most hateful person, so that they get to explain to all their colleagues exactly what they've done.
Dude, hold their feet to the fire. I love it. Hey, how can people help you out? Because we're winning. We need to send you reinforcements. How can we help? Tell us where we can see all your great work. Please, Adam Guillette.
Our website is aim.org, AIM.org. You can join in with our action alert and send a message to the trustees of this university. You can give us tips. You can see our hidden camera investigative journalism from these campuses, AIM.org.
I've got a place here, and I live in Northern Virginia in Old Town Alexandria, and there is an artist's building full of artists, and it is called the Torpedo Factory. And there are like 5 or 6 conservative artists in there, and several of them are Jewish, and they feel threatened. And there is a guy there who puts up "Kill Charlie Kirk, assassinate Donald Trump" on his windows. They speak in hushed tones like it's 1939 Germany. If you come to Washington, D.C., I would love to see you go down there.
I wasn't even aware of that. And I was recently at the Arlington School District where they were allowing a grown man who is a convicted sex offender to use the girls' locker room facilities on the weekends. And it looks like I stopped down on missed a location where I could have made some friends. All
right. So let's stay in touch. Get in touch with my producer, Brian. I'll give you the information. And when you're here, I would love to have you do this because they need a little what for. There are people who are scared. I sat down with these Jewish artists, and it was like the French underground. Seriously, one of them was wearing a beret. We met at a coffee shop, and they were speaking in whispers. I'm not kidding, Adam. I'm not kidding. It's crazy.
Unfortunately for the bad guys, I'm not capable of speaking in whispers. I put frowns in the faces of bad people.
All right.
These guys need to frown.
All right. AIM.org, AIM.org. Adam, Godspeed. God bless. Take care. Be safe. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Give me... So, as an entertainer, and I am an entertainer with educated opinion, I certainly am not a pundit. No. That's people like, I don't know, the guys you see, the talking heads on television who pop up every night, and I'm not that. I don't particularly like that. I don't really like to be on panels debating stuff. Generally when I'm doing panels, I do fun stuff. I make like Wendy Bell's show on Newsmax. My goal every week is to make her lose her bleep. She does, and I get her every week, and she can't even hardly talk, and it's funny, but I make a point. I make a point with humor. That's the most important thing. It's what I did with Rush Limbaugh. That's what I'm doing here. There's a rule that I have. It's called the weave and retrieve. When something is good, it's worth repeating, okay? And what you do is you weave and retrieve it. You weave it in the show, and you repeat it. And you weave and retrieve. You bring it back, you repeat it, okay? So earlier in the day, I was up early this morning. I do all my own audio. I do all my own everything here, And so I put together this little montage of Democrats. Democrats are like armadillos on their backs in the middle of a Texas highway. The car drives by, hits them, they spin around, and they can't get off their back and do anything because they're worthless. They're academics. They're liberals. They don't do anything. They never get anything fixed. So I took 3 examples of liberals during the Obama administration and the Biden administration who couldn't fix issues they said there's no way they could be fixed. And, of course, Donald Trump in the first 10 months of his administration had already fixed it. So I want you to listen to this little weave and retrieve, this little montage that I put together earlier today.
In Sturgis, Michigan, it is $2.89 a gallon. What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh, my God. That is hilarious. Would that I had the magic wand on this.
Cheaper gas at the pump lately. You're not imagining it. It's been nice to see. Prices are now at their lowest since March of 2021.
Because some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. When somebody says that he's going to bring all these jobs back, well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? What magic wand do you have?
Ford had its best year since 2019. GM sales are up 6%. Ford sales up. Their stock prices are going through the roof. Ford says they have 5,000 manufacturing jobs that pay 6 figures that they can't fill. There's that much demand.
Republicans have been saying, largely wrongly, right? Because saying that the president can close the border unilaterally on his own. The president actually doesn't have the authority under law to do that.
There's only so much President Biden can do with executive action, and he did.
They actually are doing everything they can.
The president's hands are tied. There's only so much that he can do.
Here were the records set in July. Again, these numbers were released this morning. The lowest monthly nationwide encounters ever, down nearly 90% from the monthly average under the Biden administration. The lowest monthly Border Patrol apprehensions nationwide ever.
Weave and retrieve, baby. Weave and retrieve. I was quite proud of that piece of production. Thank you very much. Donald Trump was on CBS last night, and Tony Ducabel did a good job interviewing him. Not like, other letter networks do with him. And he was asked about Renee Good. Renee Good's father, obviously, is crestfallen. His daughter was lured in by the leftist nonsense, driven completely insane, and ultimately lost her life trying to run over an ICE officer. Here is Donald Trump talking about that.
The death of Renee Nicole Good. I've been speaking to her father, who is a big supporter of yours, like many Americans are, but he's heartbroken right now.
I can understand that.
He's heartbroken because his daughter is dead, that's obvious. He's also heartbroken because your administration so quickly has come out and said she's a domestic terrorist. What do you want to say to her father right now?
Well, I want to say to the father that I love all of our people. They can be on the other side. As you say, he might be on my side.
He is on your side.
And I think that's great. And I do. I think it's great. And I would bet you that she, under normal circumstances, was a very solid, wonderful person. But, her actions were pretty tough. I've seen it many ways and many different shapes and forms. But the bottom line is, look, we have hundreds of thousands of murderers in our countries, killers. ICE is trying to get them out. They were let in through an open border policy of sleepy Joe Biden. ICE is working very hard to get them out. Their job is being made very, very difficult. And, when you look at that tape, it can be viewed 2 ways, I guess. But when you look at the way that car was pulled away, there are a couple of versions of that tape that are very, very bad.
Yeah, I thought that was well-spoken, not as only as a president, but as a father. I thought it was a pretty great way to put it. I had mentioned earlier, Duke Capel is doing this show and saying, hey, man, we got the president on. Get used to it. You may disagree, but we're presenting it. You can make up your own mind. I thought that was great. Meanwhile, Gayle King in Mornings, who's almost out the door. I mean, she's done. She'll be done this year. She does the opposite. This is pure propaganda. Listen to this. Pure, unadulterated propaganda.
We're going to begin with the latest pushback to President Trump's anti-immigration tactics. It's a new lawsuit.
It's not. It's enforcing immigration law.
Filed by the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities. Now, officials there allege that ICE agents have invaded the area, wreaking havoc, they say, and violating residents' constitutional rights. And guess what? They want them out.
No, they're not, and most people want them there.
We've also seen continuing protests nationwide after an ICE agent shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis last week.
Yeah, that is the difference between what Tony Ducapel's doing on CBS Evening News and what's still going on in mornings on CBS, and hopefully Barry Weiss will gut that morning show too. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All right, streamers. Hello, streamers. Oh, man, you guys are just crazy busy on the talk today. My God, look at this. I mean, how do you get any work done? I love it. I love that you've come together. And you know what? We might have to do, it would be fun? Like do a cruise for streamers. Like we take over a cruise ship and do a cruise for our streamers. Called the Carson Streamer Cruise or something. I don't know. Maybe. Would you do that? Would you do that? Gramad times 59. Would you do that? I think it'd be kind of cool, right? You did hear about the thing we're going to be doing at WCBM coming up here in the spring. We're going to go to Gettysburg. We're going to leave from Baltimore, luxury coach to Gettysburg, going to the battlefields, having lunch there, getting a lesson on what happened there, touring the battlefield, seeing Little Round Top, Big Round Top, seeing where Lincoln delivered the address, and we're going to do it for one low price. And if we get enough people, guys, well, Beck Hottenberry, you're paying, of course, but that's what we're doing. So we might have to, if you decide you want to come in to Baltimore, make it a long weekend, get a plane ticket, ride the train, drive in, whatever. But you'll get details on it. I mean, I'm not just going to keep it to Baltimore and WCBM, although they're the anchor station. I want to, leave in it. So I was thinking a cruise. Rob would be good, right? Cruise. Gettysburg is going to be fun. Cruise to Alaska? No, I don't do Alaskan cruises. When I do a cruise, I want to be on the beach. I want to be in the sun. I don't want to be freezing my ass off, looking at killer whales and icebergs. No interest at all. I saw Titanic. I will never do an Alaska cruise. I know it's pretty. No. Mosquitoes. No. Ice. No. All right, here we go.
About 3 minutes here.
All right. So I was looking this morning at some headlines. COMEX gold settles higher than 46.26, a record high. That story just came out. Gold is reaching a massive levels, a new record high, up 6 of the past 8 sessions, up 70% from its 52-week low of 27.12 on January the 15th of 2025. Oh, my God. $2,000 since last year. Silver's at $90, over $90. New record high, up 21% over the last 4 sessions, whatever that means, up 7 of the past 9 sessions. 212% from its 52-week low in 2025. It was $29 in 2025, and now it's $90 freaking dollars. Birch Gold, Birch Gold, guys. Text my name, Rob, to Birch Gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Do it. This is unbelievable, unprecedented, amazing, ridiculously awesome. First-time gold buyers, Birch Gold will offer a rebate up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility, start the process. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Roll an existing IRA or 401k. They make it easy for you. They'll text you back, and then maybe you'll get a phone call eventually when you agree to do that. And then they'll just get the ball rolling and get it done, and then you can get on the gold train. How's that? All right? Rob to 989898. Wow. Birch gold, awesome. Secret Service agent has been assigned to J.D. Vance, is placed on leave after being caught leaking sensitive details with James O'Keefe. What James O'Keefe does is he gets people in a dating situation. He gets a hot girl, or like they got some of these guys who prefer the company of men. And when you are looking to get a little, as a man, you will give it up. That's why loose lips sink ships. They said that in World War II. So this guy started offering up all sorts of details because he wanted to get a little something, and the agent disclosed all sorts of stuff, despite admitting on camera that he signed a non-disclosure agreement because he wanted a little something. He admitted to voting for Joe Biden over Trump and said regarding the president's immigration crackdown, "I hate that ICE, SH, all of that." And this got back to the Secret Service, and he's in a whole lot of trouble. This is what happens, This is what happens when you think below the belt. When you think below the belt, it happens, and clearly it's working for James O'Keefe. And honestly, on a most serious note, Bye, you jackweed. Honestly, is there any reason, why you would doubt that this Secret Service allowed two prone people to get in the most prone position to kill Donald Trump? I think you kind of know now, don't you? Don't you? I think so. Time for me to go. Check out the podcast, subscribe, and share with others. God bless you. America's founded Donald Trump as he's making this country amazing. The people of Iran, pray for the freedom of the people of Iran. And until tomorrow, which is Thursday, don't catch the stupid. I'll see you then.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news.